crawl at the bottom of your screen. This is for a very strong rotation we are detecting on radar currently in northern Liberty County. So this is off to the northeast of Houston, right there along 105 between Cleveland and Batson. We're seeing some very strong rotation at this time on radar, and this is going to continue moving off in a northeasterly direction. Let me zoom down a little bit to get some cross streets since we don't have any larger towns currently being impacted by that rotation. But if you're in Liberty County, north of 105, around County Road 2255 to 2254, 2252, that's where this circulation is currently moving off in a northeasterly direction. I'll go ahead and set this into motion. You can see all of a sudden these bright yellows and greens that start collecting together there right along 105. This is moving off in a northeasterly direction. So tornado warning currently in effect for parts of Liberty, Polk, and San Jacinto counties until 4:15 p.m. So most of San Jacinto County is likely going to miss out on the rotating part of this storm, okay? Just looking at the way that it's tracking, this is mainly northern Liberty County, and this might, if it were to turn north, clip southern Polk County, but the main concern right now is that zone on 105 between Cleveland and Batson. That's where we have this strong circulation being detected by radar. And when I actually go to a different view, I can look at this from different radar sources. When we look at it from the National Weather Service coming from the south, you'll notice all these bright yellows that pop up. This is an indication that we've got some really strong winds going on here, 68, 57 miles per hour. And when you zoom down enough, you really start to see those colors coming together, the greens and the yellows. Now the radar is hitting the storm fairly high in the atmosphere, so this might be more of a mid-level rotation, but just based on the signature that I'm seeing right now, I would be surprised if there was not a tornado on the ground. So again, this is east of Cleveland and it's moving away from Cleveland. But if you've got loved ones maybe that are traveling home right now in northern Liberty County, get on the phone with them and tell them to pull over if they can, seek shelter somewhere in a sturdy building until this passes by. I'll go ahead and I'll draw a storm track, a future track on what we are seeing right here as this storm again is moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So if I draw the tracker in this direction, you see we're just starting to hit Thicket at 417, Bragg at 425. This is a fairly rural part of southeast Texas, but we know that there are people traveling these roadways and folks that live here, so we want to stay on top of this for you as well to talk about what we are seeing on the radar. We don't have a confirmed touchdown at this time, but again, I'd be surprised if we do not have a touchdown just based on what we are seeing here on the radar. This is another view of the same same storm, but from a slightly closer radar coming out of Bush Airport, and it looks like we just maybe got a second tornado warning. Okay, Elise Smith is in the Weather Center as well. This is a more significant one, Elise, in terms of impacts to population. This is a new tornado warning for the north side of Lake Houston and Kingwood included in this one. This is another storm that we are seeing possibly producing a tornado. I'm trying to look at the velocity signatures, and Elise, let's go to if we go to Max 4 at the BAM, Elise Smith is ready to go and talk about this other cell that she's been watching. Again, this one looks like it is crossing near it's moving out of Atascocita on the south side of Lake Houston and is moving off in a northeasterly direction. So that is the next storm that we are seeing that's been showing signs of rotation. And if you were watching us earlier at 3 o'clock, Elise, we saw that rotation. You spotted it on the west side of Houston, and our tower cams were showing that lowering cloud coming down. It then kind of stopped spinning, and now it has spun back up again. What else are you seeing?
Right, this really caught our attention when it started to move through the Galleria, as you mentioned, Travis. So let's get Max 4 up here. Here is that storm. Again, a tornado warning now for portions of northeastern Harris County and into Liberty County. This storm is just behind the other tornado warned storm. So this situation is escalating very quickly here. You can see all of the lightning strikes on the northern side of the storm. We have that hook echo wrapping around, and where that potential lowering could be, where a funnel cloud could be and potentially a tornado could be, is right where it needs to be on this radar signature. So again, this is for the cities of Atascocita and Dayton. We also might have potentially some small hail with this storm, and I do on Max 4. Let me make sure I can put it into play here real quick. I have the rotation up for you. So here is where those greens and those reds are meeting together. The sign of that rotation, this is exactly where that potential rotating thunderstorm could produce a tornado. It's just north of Crosby and just north of Highway 90 as well. This is going to continue to track northeast at about, as you said, Travis, the storm motion is 30 to 35 miles per hour. I have a loop on here as well, but areas that need to be on guard around 354, we have this moving closer to Huffman, 403 Eastgate. Anyone there, you need to be in your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from windows in an interior room. 420, this is going to track closer to Kennefic. Kennefic, you are not in the tornado warning, but these storms are moving extremely quickly. So you have to be ready to potentially take shelter if you are in the path of these storms. Again, this is the storm that moved through the Galleria, moved through the inner loop, was over the heights at one point, now is east of Bush Airport, tracking pretty quickly, Travis. And the rotation on these storms, they are developing very quickly, and that means that we could see this situation again escalate very quickly.
They are, and Elise, we've basically got 2 tornado warnings in effect right now for the part of southeast Texas that we cover. There's the one on the south side of Lake Houston and one crossing 105 between Cleveland and Batson. We just got an update from the National Weather Service on that one. I had mentioned how this is going to steer clear of San Jacinto County. They dropped San Jacinto County out of that part of the warned storm, but notice you'll see these 2 bright areas popping up and a very large one in northern Liberty County. And something we often observe here in the winter months, for whatever the reason may be, when these storms push east of I-45, they typically start to get a bit stronger. And we're in that time of day where these storms are tapping into the most unstable air. So we're seeing multiple signatures now beginning to emerge on the radar, spinning up and moving in that northeasterly direction. So here is the 1 hour loop. You see those reds and greens that came together along northern Liberty County in 105. And then you see the other rotation that we've been tracking across the city of Houston. Look at that little spin that went across Memorial Park, Garden Oaks. We saw that on our tower cam, and that's continuing to spin as it moves through the south side of Lake Houston. And I also want to draw your attention to another rotation that we are seeing on the southeast side of Houston. And we have a history here in southeast side of Houston towards Pasadena, towards Channelview, where storms tend to start spinning up and producing tornadoes when we are in the winter months. And that is occurring right now on the southeast side of Houston. We do not yet have a tornado warning on that cell, but that'll be another one to watch. And if you look carefully, there's yet another one that's starting to spin up right there along 288 and the Beltway. So on the south side of Houston to the north side of Pearland, we're seeing yet another sign of a rotating thunderstorm. So things are getting very active here in the last half hour with all these rotations that are beginning to emerge. If you're on the west side of Houston, if you're up towards Tomball, the Woodlands, Conroe, your threat of tornadoes has passed. It's going to be on the leading edge of this storm line where we have that possibility of these spin-ups producing these tornadoes. So let me turn off a few of the things on here. I'll also let you know that we do have a flood advisory. If you're in southeastern Montgomery County, anywhere from the Woodlands over towards New Caney and Splendora, we've had quite a bit of rain come down here just looking at that. So there is the potential for some street flooding in these storms as well. Of course, the biggest concern right now are these tornado warnings. So again, let's go ahead and quickly review our tornado safety. For those of you that have gotten the alert on your smartphone that you are in the path of that warned storm, this is our tornado just general overview, just to remind you right now as you're gathering up the family and the pets, is you want to get away from the outside walls, get away from the windows, get to the bottom level of whatever building that you are in. And if you can't do that, everyone just, no matter what floor you're on, you want to get into interior rooms. So you want to get towards the central part of the building, put as many walls between you and the outside air as possible. We usually suggest a small enclosed room, like a bathroom, a pantry, a closet, maybe you have a closet underneath the stairwell if you have a 2-story house. Those are some of the safer places to be. And you want to get low to the ground, cover your head. And if you're in that warning, maybe bring in some games for the kids to keep them a little pleasantly distracted as this storm is blowing on through. And that's what we generally advise whenever you are under a tornado warning. Now, all of us are under the watch. That means the ingredients are there to potentially produce tornadoes. The warning is when it's time to take action because we potentially have a tornado on the ground that may be impacting you. So that's what we're looking at right now. And so we have the 2 tornado warnings, and then we also have these 2 rotating storms crossing right through Harris County. And I will not be surprised if we see additional warnings pop up here across parts of Houston and Harris County with the rotation that we are seeing. So let me just go ahead and quickly spotlight the zones that are rotating, and then we'll get back over to Elise Smith. I think you've got another thing set up to go.
Yep.
But we're seeing rotation right here along the south belt and the south loop at Highway 288. So this is kind of just outside of the medical center. Everything that you see is moving off in a northeasterly direction. So everything is going off in this general vicinity. So that's the direction direction that everything is going to be moving. And then we have this other circulation that is currently crossing 225 in Pasadena. This is headed towards you in Channelview. So this is going to cross the Houston Ship Channel and work its way northeastward, eventually getting very close to Crosby, kind of that zone between Crosby and Mont Belvieu. We have the circulation around Lake Houston, and we now have a considerable tornado tag on this storm in Liberty County. So you saw the button that just flashed up. The considerable tag is an indication that this is a very strong tornado, and it is now it's what they call a particularly dangerous situation tornado. This is located 7 miles southwest of Votah, or 8 miles west of Thicket, moving northeast at 35 miles. Say that if you are in the path of this, which includes the community of Rye, you are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes could be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible in some cases. So take this one very seriously up here. I'm going to do a little analysis on some of the other complete destruction is possible in some cases. So take this one very seriously up here. I'm going to do a little analysis on some of the other products that we have that can kind of give us an indication of what we are seeing. So this again is the velocity mode, and we're seeing that very strong circulation, the yellows and the greens that are coming together. We can also look at the potential for debris. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this into a debris mode. I'm not seeing a strong debris signature right now, which is good, but oftentimes the radar beam's kind of far away here. It may not be detecting on anything that it's picked up, like trees and things of that nature, since it's fairly rural. But just to go back to the velocity here, let's see if Bush Airport still has somewhat of a view on it. I'm going to go ahead and turn this warning off just so we can get a clearer view. So there is the circulation, and it looks like this is about to cross 146. So this is in northern Liberty County, north of 105, about to cross 146, moving off in that northeasterly direction, again, coming at us at 35 miles per hour. So when we look at that circulating part, it moves off in this northeasterly direction. It's going to be into Thicket 420 and Bragg at 427 if it maintains that heading and holds together. Looks like we also got another update, Elise, on the storm you've been tracking over near Kingwood. So let me see what just came off the printer on this one.
Yes, they've trimmed the tornado warning to be a little farther to the north and east.
Okay.
So they've let it go for the areas that were farther southwest near Lake Houston, but it's still in effect until 4:15. Up on Max 4 and on the BAM, I was able to put a slight track on it as it continues to push to about the northeast at about, you said 30 to 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, I've got that up too right now. It looks like up next is going to be Eastgate at 406, yes, and Kennefic at about 423.
Yep.
So all these again are moving off in that northeasterly direction, and so that's what we are seeing right now with these tornado-warned storms. So let me give you the broad view, and we'll kind of pull out just to give us kind of the broad view of what's happening. So as expected, this line, once it got east of I-45 here after 3 o'clock, was supposed to start getting a little more intense. That has begun to happen. So we're seeing multiple spin-ups and rotations along the leading edge. The two right now that have the tornado warnings are over Liberty County, and it looks like that rotation that just came through Lake Houston is about to cross into Liberty County as well. So this is moving away from Kingwood, moving away from you in Atascocita, and then we have these other storms. We don't want to lose sight of these on the south side of Houston that are showing signs of rotation, and so we're going to keep to get another quick look at what we're seeing here. So we have the rotation right there along the south loop. So this is moving east of NRG Park, just kind of missing the Med Center. And then we have the other rotation in eastern Harris County, crossing the Houston Ship Channel around 225. Those do not have warnings on them, but it would not surprise us if those did eventually acquire tornadic characteristics, because that's kind of what we've observed farther off to the northeast at this time.
Yep, that one cell that is just to the north of Hobby Airport and north of Pasadena looks like that area of rotation will be entering Cloverleaf around 4 o'clock. Okay. Sheldon at 4:14, Magnolia Gardens 4:17, and Barrett 4:20. So again, not tornado warned whatsoever, but that is another area, as you mentioned, Travis, the rotation that we've been seeing on the radars that has been with thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes is somewhat there. We just need to wait for it to tighten up a little more.
Yeah, these are what we call high precipitation rotation supercells that are embedded within the main line. So these are the rotating storms that produce severe weather, and in this case, the possibility of tornadoes in addition to heavy rain, high precipitation, and some hail and gusty winds. And I've got our Hobby Airport camera pulled up right now, and we can actually see the sun poking out between these storms. So that tells me that this entire storm environment is going to continue to be conducive for these storms to spin and rotate, especially with that wind still having somewhat of a southeasterly component at 20 miles per hour. So what's happening there is that as the wind is flowing in, that wind, as it spins into the line, is causing those storms to start acquiring rotation with that wind that is coming in there. We call that a low-level jet, and so I would suspect that any of these storms that are showing signs of rotation need to be treated as storms that could eventually produce some tornadoes. So that's what we are seeing right now over the city of Houston. The rain's getting really heavy, lots of noise coming down from these storms right now. Those don't have warnings on them. They have strong thunderstorm alerts, which is a step below that, and those are the ones that could potentially eventually get those tornado warnings. So for now, Elise, will you go ahead and stay on top of the storm that just came across Lake Houston?
Yep.
And I'll stay on the one over in northern Liberty County. So this is in northern Liberty County. Let me go to a different radar view just to kind of get a slice of what we are seeing. And I'm also going to turn off the warning polygon just so it really jumps out at you what we are seeing. And so you see how there's those yellows and those greens that are coming together. Those are the wind speeds being detected by the radar, and it's showing that they're moving in different directions. So there is a circulation right here. So that's what that is showing, that there's the spin right there. Okay, so this is away from you in Cleveland. This is north of you in Liberty, the city of Liberty. Kennebec, they said, you are not in the path of this storm, but eventually Bragg and Thicket are. And this is right over 146 at this time. So hopefully if you've already alerted your loved ones that may be traveling 146 in Liberty County to watch out for this one. Looks like a new warning has just popped up. So let me go ahead and check on that real fast.
For the cell you're just talking about near Hobby Airport,
so that is
with the
storm,
rotation.
That is the storm currently near Channelview along Interstate 10 that just crossed the ship channel, and it has the tag on it that a tornado is possible. So we've been talking about the rotation that we're observing and how these are going to try to spin up a little more as they keep traveling east of I-45. So it won't surprise us if this does eventually get a tornado warning. Now, keep in mind, there's heavy rain coming down all around the rotating part of that storm. It is unlikely you would be able to see it visually with your eyes. You would just see this wall of rain, and then the wind would pick up. So don't even try to look at these things. If you get under a warning, just get the family in the interior part of the building and seek shelter. And if you're not in the warn zone, but you've got loved ones that are traveling, maybe they departed for the holidays today as you celebrated things yesterday and last night, give them a call, check up on them, make sure they're okay. I know that a lot of folks were kind of surprised when we started putting out the alerts yesterday about the weather alert. They said, I knew we'd have storms. I didn't know we'd have severe weather. Make sure everyone in your circle is aware of what's happening right now so that they can take action if needed as these storms pass on through. Give them those calls, give them those text messages, check in on them and see how they're doing, especially if they are on the roadway. So this is kind of the broad view. I'm going to turn off all of the different warnings just so it's a little bit easier to see all of the rain that is happening and going on at this time. But everything is moving off. The individual storms northeasterly at 35 miles per hour. The entire line is passing through at about 20 miles per hour. And then once you see this thin line of storms that's popped up around Lake Conroe in Montgomery County, once that pushes on through, your threat of tornadoes is over. Okay, so it's mainly these storms developing ahead of that line where we are seeing those possible tornadoes. We already had a confirmed touchdown from the storms earlier as that storm moved out of Jackson County, went into Wharton County. So we know that these storms have already produced tornadoes, and we currently have the two warnings going on. Now we're going to go over to Elise Smith over at the weather wall. Elise, what are you seeing right now with that storm that just came through Lake Houston?
Right, so a couple of things I want to point out is where two of these very intense thunderstorms are colliding right now, and it's in eastern Harris County and into portions of Liberty County. So we still have that tornado warning in effect until 4:15 for that storm that just passed through Lake Houston. It is now making its way into Liberty County. So Dayton, this is just north of Crosby as well, so you have to be on alert for that. I'm going to play through my graphics for you, but I want to show you how close the new warned storm is. It's just to its south along Highway 90. County. So you can see this new severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag is in effect for portions of Harris and Liberty County, including the towns of Barrett, Cloverleaf, Crosby, who is near that other tornado warned storm, and Sheldon. This storm is tracking northeast and will continue to track northeast, soon intersect I-10 and then potentially Highway 90. This is right near Channelview as well. Main concerns are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds and the potential for upwards. It would be right around nickel-size hail. Thank you, Travis. So I pointed out that area of rotation. It is just north of Channelview right now, and you can see it's about to be right between I-10 and Highway 90. So, Travis, I have another way to put a track on it for you. So timing out when that most intense part of the storm is going to be near your community. Tracking northeast could be in Sheldon around 4:13, Magnolia Gardens around 4:17, Barrett around 4:18, and 4:22 in Crosby, getting closer and closer to Liberty County. So we can go ahead and play that as well, Travis, as you're getting another weather alert. Is this an update on the tornado warning?
Yes.
I just wanted to show you kind of a cross section where we are seeing that very intense updraft is where we've also had the lightning strikes. The structures of these storms, they've been below 40,000 feet, but once they've gotten above 30,000 feet, that's when we've been able to really key in on these storms intensifying, and that's when we've seen those rotating thunderstorms as well. So that is with the thunderstorm that is still tornado warned. I'll play through one more time, and you can see it's still rotating. We just got that update. Could be moving closer around 4:30 to Dayton Lakes. That's the next larger community that it could impact with the tornado warned storm. Dayton Lakes, you are not in the tornado warning, but we want to give you a heads up to where those areas of rotation are heading next. So again, the one strong thunderstorm alert that is still for the city of Houston, that was with a different thunderstorm. The new one that was just warned was with the strong thunderstorm alert that went through Pasadena and southeast Harris County. So that now has that potentially tornado possible tag on it. Travis, I'm going to update a couple of graphics here. Do you have any updates for me right now?
Oh, absolutely, Elise. So we're going to stay on top of this for everyone right now. And what we're seeing is, again, that these storms are really starting to spin up here just to as they continue to move east of I-45. So this is the updated warning that just came down. So we've seen that tornado warning basically get cleared out of Harris County. So Kingwood, Atascocita, the communities right around Lake Houston, you are now in the clear. The rotating part of the storm has crossed the Grand Parkway and is approaching 321. So that's the update on that tornado warning. And then the one that we have been following with that had the considerable tag of a potentially dangerous tornado, that warning continues for Liberty and extreme southern Polk County until 4:15 p.m. And when we go back and look at the velocity products here, the rotating part of that has almost crossed the county line. So this is now east of 146 and is on its way out. I'll zoom out and set this into motion. You can see the track. Let me turn the warnings off so it's a little more visible. You can see that circle of green and yellow. That is the winds rotating in the storm as it crossed 105 and is lifting northeastward into Hardin County. So this is almost out of Liberty County and will continue to move off in that northeasterly direction. And then we have the other areas that are spinning up here across parts of Houston, Harris County that don't yet have warnings, don't have tornado warnings, I should say, but we're still seeing those signs of rotation. So Elise just spotlighted the one over in Channelview. And then we also have this rotation on the East Loop. That's a new area of spin that is starting to be acquired there on the East Loop of Houston. And on the southwest side of Houston, right around the Med Center, NRG Park, we're seeing another area of rotation on the radar. Doesn't mean there's a tornado. It's just that the storm is spinning and might eventually produce a tornado that could drop on down. So those are the areas of rotation that we're monitoring. And you notice we're not talking about you out west in Katy or Sealy or up towards Conroe and Huntsville anymore because your threat of tornadoes has now cleared out. The primary zone, the primary window, our focus of where these potential tornadoes could form is going to be east of generally now of the 59 corridor is where we're seeing all that rotation. So if you live east of Highway 59, then you potentially could still be talking about a tornadic storm developing, aside from the ones that we currently have warned at this time. All right, so it's 4:11. The tornado warning for Liberty County is going to expire at 4:15. That rotation, again, is almost out of here, getting very close to Batson. So if you've got loved ones that are in Batson, maybe give them a call, check up on them, as that storm is under, they are also under that tornado warning. And then we're starting to see this signature that came across Lake Houston getting a little bit stronger here in western Liberty County. This is going to stay well south of you in Cleveland, but it's going to be a little close for comfort in Kennebec. So I would definitely keep a watchful eye on that one. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this warning get extended here once we get once it comes to an expiration, which is supposed to happen in just a few minutes. Now, Elise, you've been on top of that storm over Channelview. What's the latest on what's happening there on the east side of Houston and Harris County?
So the storm on Channelview, still only a severe thunderstorm warning, but with the potential for a tornado to touch down. And what I just heard in my ear from my producer is that we have Chief Forecaster David Tillman is on this storm in Channelview right now and has a live picture for us as well. And I'm sure he can hear us. Hi there, David. Give us the latest on the storm you're tracking right now in Channelview. What are you seeing?
I tell you what, we've got a storm that's in Channelview right now that's just moving away from us. There is some rotation with it, but what has caught my eye, Elise, is the storm that's back crossing the east loop at this time, heading in this direction. So we're going to reposition ourselves so that we can get a good look at that particular storm as it's coming in. That particular storm looks like it's beginning to ramp up just to the west of Galena Park and just southwest of Jacinto City. So what we're going to do is position ourselves somewhere close to Cloverleaf, and that should give us a pretty good look at what this particular storm is doing as it is coming in our direction. So we've got the storm that's over Channelview that is pulling away. It's near the Highlands there. There is some rotation with it, but the one that is really starting to wrap up is just to the north and west of Galena Park. I'm beginning to see a hook echo with that particular storm, and it's moving northeast towards Interstate 10 between Cloverleaf and Jacinto City.
Yes, David, and as you were pointing out, we just got actually a new severe thunderstorm warning for that thunderstorm you're talking about. It has that tornado possible tag with it, so it just goes to show how quickly the rotation could be tightening up. Are you able to see anything? I know these thunderstorms are holding so much heavy rainfall. Have you seen any signs that there could be a lowering, a wall cloud starting to develop with any of the storms you're tracking right now?
I tell you, earlier this afternoon we did, but right now it is very hard to see anything because there's just so much haze and spray that's going on out here that you can hardly see a thing. Now, if we reposition ourselves with this particular storm, once this wave of heavy rain passes us by, we should have a very good look to the south and west of us of what is going on with this particular storm. I want to change camera views here and show you exactly the part of the storm that we're going to be looking at, and it's right over in that direction right there. So we'll be looking over in that direction to see if we can see something. But this storm that is near Galena Park, to these eyes, looking at radar right now, appears to be wrapping up, and it is going to be crossing Interstate 10 in the vicinity of Jacinto City, which is just to the east of the East Loop.
David, yes, and I do have up here on the BAM right now just to show you how close together these thunderstorms are that are both severe warned with that tornado possible tag. They are tracking right behind each other. One that just moved through Channelview. There is that hook echo on reflectivity. Then just in its wake, that second storm that David is tracking right now that is going to continue to lift northeast, soon past I-10, lift north of I-10 near Jacinto City and Galena Park. And part of our 13 alert radar is picking up on that potential low-level rotation within that hook echo too on reflectivity. So this is getting to be a pretty dangerous situation across all of southeast Texas. It's not a time when you want to be outside on the roads. It's a time when you want to just stay inside, get away from the windows. Don't try to go outside and see the storms. As David mentioned, you're not going to be able to see them with how heavy the rain is right now, how hazy it is outside because of how humid it's been. And I know, Travis, you have the latest updates on all of these warnings that just dropped when David was out in the storm tracker.
Yes, Elise, we just got an extension of the tornado warning for the storm that crossed around the vicinity of Lake Houston, and we have a storm report from the National Weather Service of a funnel cloud and possible tornado touchdown east of Kingwood. So we're working to confirm if this storm did produce a tornado, but the warning now no longer includes Harris County. It has been extended, though, and expanded into deeper into Liberty County, and we're seeing a whole bunch of lightning around here and a lot of rotation. So as I go into the velocity mode, it's crossing 321 at this time. And as we look at a different view of it, we can kind of slice through in many different ways. So we can look at the radar coming out of Bush Airport. There is that red and green circulation, the rotation of the storm that has crossed 321, very close to Kennefic and Dayton Lake. So when we go back to the Weather Service radar, some other streets here. So this is FM 1008, it looks like, and Trinity Hills Road. So this community right here in northern Liberty County on the northwest side of Kennefic is where that rotation is and the possibility of a tornado. It's radar indicated at this time, but we don't know if it's actually touched down. But given what we have seen transpire today with the touchdown confirmed earlier around El Campo, treat all these warnings, even if they just say radar indicated, as if there is a tornado on the ground. Also, the circulation has crossed out. The other circulation that was crossing 105 in northern Liberty County, that has now moved into Hardin County. So you've been dropped out of that, but it continues to see a lot of circulation there on the west side of Hardin County. And then getting back to the velocity mode of what Elise and David have been talking about. So we have a stronger circulation in the vicinity of Jacinto City and Galena Park. That one may be the next one to get a tornado warning issued for it. So right now we have the severe thunderstorm warning, and I'll flip back over to kind of the traditional radar view where we kind of show you the intensity of how heavy the rain is. So very heavy rain. And as David mentioned, he's just seen a lot of spray flying around. You cannot see these. If there are tornadoes, they're what we call rain-wrapped tornadoes, which are fairly common in our part of Texas. They're not the photogenic ones in the plains that you see far away in the fields. These are wrapped in heavy rain. So there's really no point in trying to see it with your own eyes. If you go under a warning, take the family into your safe place, gather the pets, get some games maybe that you just opened under the tree yesterday, and go ahead and just gather in your safe place, interior building or interior room, as many walls between you and the outside air as possible, and stay in that safe place until these storms pass on through. Now, for those of you that are on the northwest side of Houston, this rain is cleared out up towards the Woodlands, Conroe. The storm threat is over now from Huntsville to Navasota to College Station and Hempstead. This is really, the focus is going to be along this line that goes all the way down towards Bay City. And then we see parts of Sugar Land, Sienna, Missouri City, and particularly here from eastern Harris County into Liberty County. That's the main corridor right now where we're seeing those ingredients that are causing those storms to spin, rotate, and possibly produce tornadoes. So the active tornado warning here is over Liberty County. And if you look here, you're also going to notice how there's this curvature. So you can kind of play meteorologist at home. Basically, we have this curvature to the storm. Okay, that's what we call a hook echo. That C shape, kind of an upside, a C tilted over. That's where we have a sign that the storm is spinning and rotating. These are called supercells, and that's what we were expecting to form at some point today. Those are the ones that are becoming tornadic. We saw a very small one of these pop up earlier near Ganado, and it did drop that tornado in the vicinity of El Campo. So those are the storms that we're looking out for, and we're seeing that's kind of harder to see the signature over Houston because we have storms kind of merging together with very heavy rainfall. But even here, you can again see that we have this kind of curvature of the storm on the southeast side of Houston. And so that's why it helps to have the Doppler part of the radar that allows us to then peer inside of the storm. So when we look inside the storm, that's where we're seeing all those different rotations that are popping up. And we want to treat those as if they're going to produce tornadoes just in case that they eventually do. So those are the three active warnings we have. The tornado warning over Liberty County, just north of Liberty, very close to Kennefic and Dayton Lakes. Stay in your safe place. And then we have the severe thunderstorm warnings with tornadoes possible for those of you from the east side of Houston into Channelview over towards Crosby. Something's coming off the printer. It looks like an update on a tornado warning. So let's go ahead and I'll click on over to that one and see what the latest is from the National Weather Service. They continue to say that there's a possible tornado radar indicated near Kennefic, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So let me do this. I'll go ahead and I haven't done this in a while, and this one is kind of get the best velocity view I can, and we're going to draw a storm track on this storm to kind of give you a heads up. It's going to be moving through a pretty rural part of Liberty County, so we may not see very many communities pop up when I draw this analysis, but there is the rotation, and as we lift it northeastward, it shows those of you in Moss Hill still potentially you are downstream from this circulation. 4:40 would be the time, around the time that this circulation would come through. So we're giving you about a 20-minute heads up to get your stuff in order, get your family in order, get into that safe place as this storm continues to move off in a northeasterly direction. Meteorologist Elise Smith has been working since, 2 o'clock in the morning? It has been a long day for you. She's over at the weather wall right now, keeping a watchful eye on that circulation on the east side of Houston. Elise, what's the latest with those circulations you're seeing right now?
I just had some peanut butter and chocolate candy. We're good to go, Travis. Anyway, the one thing I want to show you is some areas of that broad rotation near downtown, as these are intense portions of those thunderstorms. Chief forecaster David Tillman is out chasing these. This is the thunderstorm that he pointed out earlier as he was live on air talking about that radar signature. So you can see two signatures very close together. I cleaned up the radar. There is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the regions where these areas of potential rotation are. You can see one is just south of downtown. It's not very strong. That's good news. That means that we're likely not going to see that tighten up. But the other one near Jacinto City and Galena Park, that's continuing to lift north. That is another one we're going to be keeping a close eye on. So I'm going to go ahead and advance my graphic here real quick because I put a track on both of them to show you where these potential storms are headed next. So again, Sheldon, as this area of rotation tracks farther northeast, you could see that intense part of the storm that also could produce wind gusts up to about 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's headed to you in just about 10 minutes. Magnolia Gardens, that storm could be on your doorstep shortly after in about 15 minutes, and Barrett as well. Now for that area of rotation that's downtown, of course, heavy rain, thunder, lightning, all also impacts with them. This part of the storm will be crossing downtown, could be entering East Houston around 4:36, and then Scenic Woods just after that. So these are also two areas of intense thunderstorms that are going to be moving through. And this is just the first of two waves, Travis, as you mentioned. That second wave is going to be coming through soon. And Travis, I know you just got an update on that tornado warning. I see that tag there.
We got as well, we got an update on the tornado watch. So we're going to start there. The tornado watch has been canceled for many of you out west of Houston. So Austin County, Brazos County, Burleson County, Colorado, Grimes, Houston County, not the city of Houston, Madison County, Trinity County, Walker County, Waller County, Washington, Wharton County. If I just said your county's name, you are in the clear from the threat of tornadoes. If you see your county highlighted in red, which includes Harris, Fort Bend, Brazoria, Galveston, Chambers, Liberty, Montgomery, Polk, San Jacinto, you still have the potential for tornadoes as this main line is pushing its way on through. We also got some video coming in just now to show you of what we're up against of some storm damage. We sent Mo Hyder down into Wharton County, and he picked up, he was able to find some damage from the reported tornado that touched down near El Campo. So we have that video for you that we're going to be showing you. And we also have video that a viewer sent in. This is the picture right here. It looks like we're looking at some sort of I can't tell if that's a barn structure, large metal structure. You can see some of the metal siding ripped off that building. That is live right now in Wharton County from that tornado that tracked just south of 59, it looks like, for the most part. And here is some video that came in to me. Actually, this is from the Wharton County Office of Emergency Management. We've seen several pictures and videos come in from then. And then I had a viewer named Denise that was driving with her husband from Houston down to El Campo along Highway 59 and happened to spot the tornado. We're going to get that video for you as well as it very clearly shows that tornado on the ground spinning through some fields south of Highway 59. So we show that to you just to say this is a serious situation with these storms. Most of us are not going to encounter tornadoes, but they're out there and you need to be aware of them and stay with us as we continue to cover all of this. So even now from kind of the northwest side of Houston, I know Harris County, all of it still technically in the tornado watch, but if you're in Katy, Jersey Village, Cypress, Spring, you're no longer really in the threat zone for possible tornadoes. It's where you see all the stormy activity currently on the south side, on the east side, into Liberty County. That's where we still have that potential threat of tornadoes. Of course, it's always good news when we can clear counties out of that. And so for those of you that I called out earlier, your counties are now cleared. No more threat of tornadoes for you. Elise Smith, I know you're staying on top of those spinning circulations over around Houston. What's the latest going on?
Yeah, so I do want to get the update on the tornado warning, Travis, in Liberty County as it looks like
Okay, Elise, your microphone actually died, so I'm going to take over for just a moment, and then we'll get you back there. We have David Tillman in Channelview right now, who is keeping a watchful eye on that circulation that is starting to spin up on the east side of Houston and Harris County. David, I know it's hard to see. You talked about all that spray going on. Very difficult with these rain-wrapped circulations to actually see much. But what are you seeing, and what's your gut feel for what's going on here with this storm near Channelview?
I tell you what, Travis, not only are we dealing with the spray that comes along with driving on an interstate during a thunderstorm, but typically when you get around one of these big storms, supercell thunderstorms, and all the dynamics that go with it and all the moisture out here, there's just a ton of haze that can come about, and they can really scour your view of trying to actually see if there's a circulation on the ground or not. Based on what I'm seeing on radar, the couplet, the rotational couplet, is not as strong with this storm that's near Channelview as it was just a little while ago, but there is still some weak rotation there, and that is the reason for the severe thunderstorm warning with the possible tornado tag with this particular storm. So at this time, Travis, as you said a moment ago, it is very hard to see if something is on the ground with this particular storm, but I can tell you based on radar, based on what I'm seeing with the winds blowing and whatnot, I don't think anything is right now. What we're doing at this time, we just passed Beltway 8, we're on Interstate 10, we're heading east to get out ahead of the storm so that if it does ramp up once again, we'll be in a better position to see what's going on with it. But for right now, it's a thunderstorm with a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning. The winds are certainly blowing out here, but I don't see any evidence of there actually being a tornado on the ground in Channelview. And I think you mentioned a little while ago about the historic nature of Channelview. This was the very town that was hit by more than likely the worst tornado to ever strike Southeast Texas, and that was on November 21st, 1992. That was an F4 tornado, and we've done extensive reporting on that particular storm.
David Tillman out there on your day off. Thanks for taking some time away from your family to serve our community as you always do. And David, if you didn't know, is a walking encyclopedia when it comes to tornado history. And yes, that F4 tornado that hit Channelview back before Thanksgiving, right around Thanksgiving in the early 1990s. We see these things spin up on the east side of Harris County, which is why we're really focusing on these circulations, even though they don't yet have warnings. And there you can see the reds and the greens that are coming together there between Channelview and Beaumont Place. And if I go ahead and loop this in motion, you'll see that these are really moving quickly to the northeast. So these circulations are rapidly moving off to the northeast. Not yet to the point, though, where we believe they're producing tornadoes, but they could. So we definitely want to keep a watchful eye on that. And I think a new frame just came in here. So I'm going to take a little closer look here at where this is. So the circulation right now is near Sheldon Road and the East Freeway, I-10, as it lifts its way rapidly off to the northeast. So if you live between I-10 and Highway 90 in eastern Harris County, you're kind of in the zone of impact for the rotating part of the storm. You're already probably getting the heavy rain, hearing those loud rumbles of thunder. Be aware of what's going on there. And so we have these two severe thunderstorm warnings. I turned on the regular radar view that shows you how heavy the rain is, and it's just messy. These are messy storms, but when you peer inside of them, we can see that spin. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now over Liberty County, where we still have that tornado warning in effect. And Elise, you got some new information from the National Weather Service on a possible touchdown.
We did, and it's near Dayton in Liberty County. So it would be from this particular thunderstorm that is tornado warned still. So this tornado warning that's in effect for 4:45 for Liberty County, it's likely going to continue if we do indeed have that report of a tornado that has touched down. And you can see all the spinning icons on this storm. This is likely a massive rotating supercell that is in Liberty County right now that's going to continue to track to the northeast. So it is soon, likely within the next hour or so, if not earlier, it's going to move out of Liberty County. But in the meantime, this is a very dangerous storm that is now approaching Texas 146 and will likely cross at the intersection as well as of Texas 105. So I'm going to go ahead and hit advance on my graphics here to show you where we are going to continue to find that area of rotation. I need to adjust it slightly since these thunderstorms are moving so quickly right now. They are moving at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So you can see that area of rotation. It was pretty tight. It looks like it might have actually weakened slightly, but I don't think that means you need to let your guard down yet if you're living in Liberty County. Again, there is that area of rotation, the reds and the greens coming together in that counterclockwise motion. The storm is going to continue to track to the northeast over the next hour or so. I put a slight track on it, so Moss Hill, 440, you got about 10 minutes. Hopefully you are in your safe place. You are right on that edge of the tornado warning. So this tornado warning, as you can see, there's the area of rotation. It is going to have a close call to that intersection of Texas 146 and also Texas 105 where Moss Hill is. You got to be in your safe space inside, away from windows, as this is potentially a tornado on the ground right now in Liberty County. This is still, as I believe, a radar indicated tornado warning. We don't have a confirmation of it, even though we have had some reports to the National Weather Service that a tornado was spotted potentially touching down in Liberty County. And again, Kennefic, you are still within the tornado warning. This is likely going to be trimmed over the next 10 to 15 minutes as we get into the bottom of the hour, but that is still a potentially dangerous thunderstorm as well as it continues to track to the northeast. One other thing we have with this is potentially some pea-sized hail. There is the hail core on it. That is typical with these kind of big supercell thunderstorms, that where we have those big, strong rotating updrafts that are capable of producing tornadoes, it's also likely capable of producing hail. And that was one of the other threats we were talking about today. So that hail core, again, likely right near where that tornado potentially could be, well north of DayZeta, but you can see that hail core just to the west of Texas 146. So not only do we likely have heavy rain with this tornadic thunderstorm, Travis, we also have potentially some pea-sized hail with it as well.
Yeah, these storms producing all of the potential hazards. We haven't heard much about severe damaging wind gusts, but of course when you got tornadoes, that's the greatest concern of all. This is kind of the broad 30,000-foot overview of what we are seeing. This line of storms that stretches from east of Lake Livingston down through Liberty and Houston all the way to Matagorda Bay around Palacios. That is the line where there potentially could be spin-ups of tornadoes. Once that line clears out, the threat of tornadoes is over for your community. So we've seen a lot of counties west of Houston and Harris County get cleared out of the tornado watch. So our focus continues to remain what is happening right here across Harris County and across Liberty County. And soon, those of you in Brazoria, Galveston, Chambers counties, you're going to be feeling the impacts of these storms as they work their way off. The whole line is kind of moving eastward, but it's beginning to slow down a little bit. And based on just where all the ingredients seem to be coming together, it looks like roughly here from I-10 northward into Liberty County is where we're going to see the greatest risk of these storms rotating and producing those tornadoes. Now, you notice we lost one of the severe thunderstorm warnings over Harris County. So we had two warnings out with that tag that says there could be a tornado in this storm. One of those has now expired. The other one is good for until 4:45. That's that circulation we've been talking about between Channelview and Galena Park that David Tillman is currently driving around in. Looks really messy on the reflectivity, so that's why we put on the Doppler mode. And we're probably going to see this get extended, reissued a little bit early as the circulation is almost out of the zone where that polygon is currently drawn. So pretty soon I anticipate the Weather Service will draw up a new warning that'll carry this through eastern Harris County into parts of Chambers and Liberty County. So if you're in Crosby, if you're in Sheldon, if you're in Tarkington Park, if you're over towards Mont Belvieu, definitely be ready because this is coming your way. And we're also seeing a little spin up here beginning to develop east of Crosby as well. So there are multiple little circulations we're traveling. Two warnings though at this time: the tornado warning over Liberty County and then the one over eastern Harris County. We got a report into the National Weather Service chat. So on really active weather days like this, we're in constant contact with emergency managers and the National Weather Service in a chat room. And right now, the Harris County Fire Marshal's office is reporting that as far as Atascocita and Huffman are concerned, they have not received any reports at this time of damage. So hopefully when that storm came through, when it had that warning, hopefully it didn't produce any damage. But as of now, no reports of any damage. But we are still getting reports of the damage that are coming in from that confirmed tornado down in Wharton County. We have some new video to show you of that twister as it was tracking parallel to Highway 59 in the vicinity of El Campo. Thanks to Denise for sending this one in. Her husband, I believe, or there was a male passenger, let's put it that way, was behind the wheel. And so she's there in the front seat, in the passenger seat, filming this. That was the tornado that touched down on the ground. She sent us in two perspectives, one from kind of looking at the tornado. That's all the traffic you see on Highway 59. This was earlier between about 2:15 in the afternoon. afternoon when we detected that radar with our 13 alert radar in Jackson County, right over Edna. That tornado, and so that was the tornado in El Campo. We just got a new tornado warning issued. I mentioned that circulation, that new one that started spinning up. So let's get right over to that. This is for, again, Liberty County, another tornado warning for you. And this time, those of you in the city of Liberty, you are included in this warning. So now is the time to gather the family, gather the pets, get into your safe place, because we have a new tornado warned storm that is just spun up there just west of 146. So really, the circulating part of this, you see all those yellow arrows that are popping up? That's right along the Grand Parkway. So this is crossing the Grand Parkway in Liberty County, Highway 99. So that's what we're seeing right now. When we go to that velocity mode where we can peer inside the storm, you're seeing the bright reds and the greens coming together right there. So this is moving close to 146, and all of these individual tornadic circulations we're detecting on radar, they've all been moving off at about 35 miles to the northeast. So we'll go ahead and draw another future track on this one to give our folks downstream a heads up on when this may be impacting you. So for those of you in Stilson, this is coming right on your doorstep here in the next few minutes. Dayton, you're at 444 for potential impacts from this storm. Liberty, 452. So we've given you about a 15-minute heads up that this circulation could be producing a tornado, and it is heading your way. So now is the time to call your family and friends, your neighbors, get everyone into their safe place with this potential tornado tracking your way. Dayton Lakes at 457, Hardin just past 5, Daycetta 508, and if it holds together, those of you in Moss Hill, which you're currently already under a warning from that other circulation, 512. So there's actually two circulations where you're detecting right now in Liberty County. So we have the one that just got the warning on it. I'll go ahead and spotlight these for you. So this is the one, this is the new warning, and this is a broad area. We're seeing really two areas of rotation here in this part of Liberty County along 146. We're near the intersection of 105. So very, very active situation right now in Liberty County. Our storm tracker, Jaime Garcia, is actually on the storm in northern Liberty County near 105 and 146. Now, Keaton, is Jaime able to talk to us on TV? Okay, that's okay. Is that his picture that we're seeing in the bottom? Okay, so that is his picture right now. You can see those dark clouds kind of hanging down. I don't see from my perspective right here a visual of something on the ground, but we've been seeing these lowered cloud bases that are spinning and rotating. And so if a tornado were to come down, that's where it would happen. Now, maybe this will bring you some comfort, but here in Southeast Texas, in particular, Houston, Harris County, we have some of the highest number of tornado warnings in the country, but we have the highest number of false positives, meaning that we get a warning issued, but no tornado actually comes down out of that storm. It's just something about the geography around here and the climatology that normally these don't produce tornadoes, but anytime we see that rotation spinning up on radar, we're going to err on the side of caution and put that warning out in case a tornado does drop down, because most of our tornadoes are on the lower end of the enhanced Fujita scale, the zeros and the ones. So 60 to 80 miles per hour, 80 to 100-ish in terms of the wind speeds, and they don't usually last very long. But in this particular storm environment, we've been spotlighting the potential for stronger tornadoes, which is rare for us, that can stay on the ground for a longer amount of time. Those longer track tornadoes, and typically when we do see them, they happen to start usually around eastern Harris County and then track through Liberty County. So this is just part of our tornado history and tornado climatology of what we are seeing right now. So those are the circulations with potential tornado warnings, and we're still seeing all these circulations popping up in eastern Harris County as well. And Annalise Smith is over at the weather wall. She's been here since, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yep. She's working a double, staying on top of these storms. We're lightly staffed for the holidays, but we need to get the word out, and so she stayed around. You're also tracking the southern extent of that line with our 13 alert radar coming out of Edna, which picked up that tornado earlier.
It did. So right now we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings south of Houston, but this is the next area that could potentially become warned as it tracks from west to east into an area that is untapped. It has all the ingredients we might need for severe weather to pop up. So this is the southern extent of that line that does have some very intense thunderstorms along it right now. So hopefully I can try to play through some of this for you. We're going to show you a couple of different areas I'm monitoring right now. This is, of course, Brazoria County. This is our Doppler winds from our 13 alert radar in Edna. Along this line, we're going to be looking for some of those little notches where we can see the reds and the greens coming together Nothing concerns me as of right now in Brazoria County, but this line is going to continue to track from west to east, from Brazoria County into portions of Galveston, Matagorda, Brazoria, and portions of Galveston County. And I'll play through some of this. One area I was watching, it doesn't look very good anymore, but it's just on the Matagorda and Brazoria County line. It looked like we could have potentially seen some intensification, at least with some lightning and some rotation, but that has since gone away. The main events right now still, Travis, are in the Houston area. That storm that is just to the east of Houston in Channel View. That severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag is in effect until 4:45. So for the next couple of minutes here, we're going to be likely getting an update on that storm. As with these rotating thunderstorms, we've seen different areas and pockets where we could potentially see lowerings, where the rotation is tightening up. That's what's making this event so tricky and what can make things flip on a dime today with the intensity of these thunderstorms. So the most intense part of this storm is likely approaching Channel View, tracking north of I-10. I know Chief Forecaster David Tillman is on this storm. This storm is also moving into an area that is heavily populated. The roads, people out on the roads right now. I know we've heard about some crashes on different highways right now because of these thunderstorms. Elisa, do you have an update for us right now with what's looking out on the roads with all this intense weather rolling in?
Elise, absolutely. Even though some of our images that are coming in are not life-threatening, and I'm talking about images on the radar, Travis and Elise are telling you exactly in the locations where you need to take shelter. But take a look at the widespread area. This could make your drive very difficult this afternoon, even if you're not under a tornado warning. So here we are there, the South Loop at Stella Link. You can see the terrible driving conditions also, too. We have another, Greg Bailey is here with me. This is going to be on the right-hand, lower right.
Yep.
It's a little bit tough to see because there are 4 images there for you, but you can see the condition of the roadway out there. That's going to be North Loop.
Yep, it is 610, Elisa. There is obviously, it looks like they have shut down part of, they've shut down part of the North Loop 610 there. That is a big time mess. We give you a live look now, 610 on the South Loop at Stella Link. There is also a tremendous backup there. Our meteorologists doing a wonderful job with the weather. They have asked everyone, if you don't need to be out on the roads this evening, this is not the time to be out.
Another thing to consider as well is checking with your airline as this moves broadly across our area. We have heard word of many cancellations and delays right now. So check in with Bush, check in with Hobby Airport to see if the weather is perhaps, if you didn't see that travel advisory yesterday on the phone as you checked in for your flight, you might be getting one now because it might not be worthwhile to get out on the road if you know you've got a long wait ahead of you or a cancellation. So be aware of what your travel plans are. And if you can afford to wait a little bit to take back that return, just pack it in for the evening. It's getting late. It'll be dark soon. And that is another concern. Here in the next 45 minutes, your driving conditions may not improve much as this weather moves across our area, and then it gets dark as well. Even as the rain moves through, you're maybe on the northwest side, the road conditions are going to be slick out there.
Yeah, these are rapidly intensifying storms all across the area. All of this started earlier this afternoon. Travis Herzog, our chief meteorologist, keeping up to date on a very serious tornado that appeared in the El Campo area, and then the weather has really intensified throughout the afternoon. Again, this will continue. Our ABC13 meteorologist doing a wonderful job. Denise sending in that video from the El Campo area. You can see the funnel cloud there clearly. That really kicked us off this afternoon, and again, it has continued to develop these rapidly intensifying storms. Our meteorologist Elise Smith joins us now with the very latest.
Thank you so much, Greg. Let's give a big overview, right? We've been talking a lot about different tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, areas to watch. Let's also talk about areas that are now in the clear. The tornado watch that's in effect until 7 p.m. has been cleared for portions of southeast Texas, mainly west of I-45, but Houston, Harris County, you're still in the tornado watch. Montgomery County as well, Fort Bend County, Brazoria County, as the southern extent of that line is going to be moving through soon. And of course, Liberty County, Chambers County, San Jacinto, Polk counties, you are still included in this tornado watch as well. I'm going to plow through 13 alert radar for you to to show you some areas that we're watching. Of course, those storms in Matagorda County moving into Brazoria County, that's what we're watching next. But some areas that are now somewhat in the clear, western Montgomery County, northwestern Harris County, you are now in the clear. Portions of Fort Bend County as well. Wharton County is looking in the clear to Walker County, and then areas closer to College Station, Brenham, and Columbus as well, west of I-45. You see where that main line is right now that stretches all the way from Liberty County down to Matagorda Bay. So that line still has the potential to be severe warned over the next couple of hours through 7 p.m. We still have a tornado warning that is in effect for portions of Liberty County. The center of the circulation is about to cross Highway 90. Liberty, you are dead in the path of this storm right now where we have that tight circulation. Thank you, Travis. There it is. There is that sign where we could potentially be seeing the tightest rotation where a tornado could drop from the thunderstorm clouds there. We have a track on this for areas that are in the path. Dayton Lakes, you are up next, potentially moving through right around 458. We already had a report of a tornado potentially touching down 6 miles away from Dayton. And then Hardin, you're up at about 505 as this thunderstorm continues to track at about 20 to 30 miles per hour to the northeast, moving in a similar area that just had a tornado-warned storm move through. So again, the most intense part of the storm tracking northeast, about to cross Highway 90 and Texas 321. It's going to be a close call for Liberty. Hopefully everyone who can hear us who is in Liberty County, you're in your safe space. You don't want to go outside to try to see the storm. You're not going to be able to see the storm. You likely hear the heavy rainfall that's on our heads right now here at ABC13. That's the kind of torrential rain that is also accompanying this tornadic storm as well. Now, we do have another severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Houston and Harris County, I believe. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning too. Oh, nope, it was just dropped. Travis, do you have the latest on that?
That one has expired, at least thankfully, but we're still seeing those pockets of rotation. So we'll come back here over at the weather desk, and I want to just spotlight for you all these little areas of spin that we are seeing. So we got one up here approaching Koontz. That was the one that garnered that considerable tag with the tornado warning over northern Liberty County. We have another one that's near 105 and 146 in Liberty County. Another one right around Highway 90 and 321 in Liberty County. And then we're seeing the spin still going on in parts of eastern Harris County. So I want to zoom down there. These earlier had warnings on them for severe weather with the possibility they could produce a tornado. Those warnings have since expired, but again, we may see them get reissued, okay? So we have this spin on the south side of Crosby. So this is in your neck of the woods right now. Make sure you're staying alert and aware until this thing gets away from you, but there is some rotation being detected right there on the radar. You can see the bright green there near Crosby. And then farther to the south, we're still seeing these reds and greens coming together in the vicinity of Channelview. And I'm just going to kind of scroll this back and forth just to see if anything catches my eye. You see that circulation that was near Galena Park, lifting northeastward. That's the one that's currently near Crosby. And we might, let me get a different view so we have multiple radars we're blessed with that we can look at to give us a different angle of what's happening on. This is from Bush Airport. This one's from Hobby Airport. And on these radar views, those low-level circulations are not as prominent. So that is certainly some great news there. But we're still seeing some signs anyway that these things are trying to spin up in that part of the storm. Now we go back to kind of the regular radar view you're used to seeing, where you see the shades of green indicating light rain, and the reds and the purples, that's the really heavy rain. So I will say that we got to keep a watchful eye on this storm that's right over Channelview, because what's happening here is you see how it's clear south of that line. There's all this lightning occurring. That's telling me that on the edge of the southern edge of that storm, there is some really strong upward motion going on. And if we go ahead and do a slice through this, let's just kind of see how high this storm is getting through here. So I'm going to slice through. It's looking like it's about 30,000 feet above the ground. If we start seeing that get much higher, that's a sign of what we call an updraft, which means that basically we are seeing some very intense winds going straight up. And it looks like we just had an update to our tornado warning. So we'll get back to that channel view storm since no warning is on it. But here's the latest. A new update just came in from the National Weather Service on the storm that's moving through Liberty County. They say at 4:48 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Liberty, moving northeast. They've increased the speed now to 40 miles per hour. So this is currently near the community of Liberty, on the northwest side of Liberty, kind of north of Highway 90 between Liberty and Kennefic is where that circulation is. Ames, DeSeta, Hardin, Dayton Lakes, all in the path potentially of this storm. So we go back to our velocity mode, which shows us the spin, and there you see the reds and the greens coming together. This is just there on the west edge of the community of Liberty. So you see Gulf Coast High School there, Kirstein Hospital, and so this circulation is crossing right through the north side of Liberty. Don't know if a tornado is on the ground, but treat it as such, because again, there's a lot of heavy rain coming down through here as this tracks its way on through. And this is scrolling backward. You can kind of see the motion, and here it comes in to Liberty. These storms are moving fast. So if you're downstream and you get the warning, you don't have much time to prepare because of how fast these storms are moving. And I'm going to go ahead and draw another storm track on here. I got to do a little extra configuration because they've increased the speed on me, but they say 35 miles per hour. And so this is the circulating part as it moves off in that northeasterly direction. It's going to be into Sand Dune around 457, Hardin 501, Pettico 505, Moss Hill if it were to track your way at 510. And don't sleep on this either if you're farther south over in the vicinity of DeSeta, because sometimes these things have a way of turning off course, and you are included in that warning. So be aware that this storm could potentially, the rotating part, could impact you as well. So that is our lone remaining tornado warning. In fact, it's the only warning that we have going on right now. So it's good to see that we don't have any other warnings ongoing, but we're still seeing some suspicious activity, I'll put it, going on with the storm right over I-10 in the vicinity of the Houston Ship Channel. So getting back to the explanation here, while we keep an eye on that tornado warning in Liberty, is we have these strong winds that are flowing right into this part of the storm. And as they hit the storm, they start to impart a spin on it. And that's the part where we would potentially see something try to spin up into a tornado. So keep a watchful eye there from Channelview eastward into Mont Belvieu over towards Crosby. This is a live picture right now over the Houston Ship Channel. And this is I-10 east at the Crosby-Lynchburg Road. And notice the traffic is slow. You see a ton of lightning flashes. This is a really prolific lightning maker. And also at the top of the screen, you'll see kind of these dark clouds hanging low. That's the part of the storm potentially that is rotating and that could try to produce a tornado. We saw the same thing pass right by us here earlier at ABC13 and saw it skirt across the north side of Houston. It didn't drop anything, and then it got the warning once it got near Lake Houston. That storm is long gone at this point, but that's the kind of thing that we're looking for. So if you happen to get a visual on anything out your window and there's no warning, but you see those darker clouds kind of hanging low and you see all those bright flashes of lightning, that's the sign that you're very close to the serious part of that storm, and definitely take that one seriously. And you just treat it as if there is a warning and just protect your family from that until that one blows on through, because I think that may be the next candidate to potentially start to rotate, where we see those reds and those greens coming together. It hasn't really spun up much yet, but it may still do so. And there's the other part of the rotation we're seeing on the east side of Crosby. No warning on this one, but again, there is a sign that that storm is spinning. Back to the tornado warning in Liberty. So we haven't yet seen much movement here. Let me go to a different radar source. So again, we have a lot of different radars that we can look at. This is the National Weather Service radar that comes out of Dickinson, League City, and then here's the one from Bush Airport. And the one that serviced the airports, they spin a little faster during these events to kind of catch what's going on a little quicker for the air traffic. And so this one's going to probably give us a better idea of where the circulation is. So that circulation is lifting north of Liberty now, getting really close to 146 in the vicinity of Hardin. So if there is a tornado in this storm, that's where the circulation is. Let me look at the view from Hobby Airport, kind of on the edge of the radar beam there. So it looks like the Bush Airport one is going to give us the best view of that circulation. And I'll pull it out just to give you I'm going to pull this backwards. And then you can see there's that rotation near 146 and 90, and then it crossed on the northwest side of Liberty, and now it is is tracking in the vicinity of Hardin. So that's the circulating part of this storm. And again, this is our only active warning that we have in effect. And so we'll go back to the regular traditional radar view and put up data. This tornado warning goes for about 6 more minutes until 5 p.m. We will see if the National Weather Service reissues it. Otherwise, it looks just really messy. And so when we pull the entire view out, what you'll notice is we have that line that we've been following, and there's a second line behind it. And so those of you in Katy, towards Wharton, El Campo, Conroe, Cold Spring might be saying, okay, hold up. You said there was no more threat of tornadoes here. What's going on? Well, that's the last little wave of rain that's going to come through. If this were to start producing lightning, you might get some hail out of it, maybe a wind gust, but this is not going to be the part of the system that rotates and spins those storms around. So we're not concerned about severe weather with this rain as it works its way on through, but that will be the last line of rain that we see with this weather system. So the stuff we're tracking right now is going to be down south of Houston. We haven't seen any signs of rotation yet popping up in Montgomery, Brazoria counties, but certainly Liberty County. And again, Elise, I'm looking at that storm on the east side of Houston. You've been looking at it as well, seeing that lightning count really start to increase. And I think that's going to be the next one that tries to spin up. So anywhere from Channelview to Mont Belvieu, be on high alert. And Elise, you've got it pulled up over there at the weather wall as well. What are you seeing about this storm right now?
Right. I think the strongest part of the storm is now just east of Channelview near the San Jacinto Monument. And all of these lightning strikes right here are where Travis said it. They are likely within the updraft that is trying to strengthen right now. The rotating updraft that could possibly help produce a tornado with this thunderstorm. Again, this storm isn't severe warned right now. One reason why it's still a bit messy. What might be our saving grace with this particular storm is there could be a lot of different areas of that upward motion. But as Travis mentioned, the lightning strike count actually just is increasing tenfold within real time right now. It had about 90 strikes within the past 5 minutes and now has 111. So this is the next storm to watch. Southeastern Harris County, just north of Trinity Bay, just north of Galveston Bay right now. This is the storm that we have to watch for rotation next. This is storm relative rotation, looking for those reds and greens to come together in a circular motion. Not necessarily seeing that too much right now. We have the greens on one side, the reds on the other. If we don't want a tornado to happen, we want it to stay this way. But it looks like we did just get a new update on the tornado warning. So Travis, I'll let you get that together. But for you do? Perfect.
So
go for it.
Is the circulation we've been following between Liberty and Hardin.
County.
They have just now extended and expanded that tornado warning. So that now goes until 5:15, and it includes more of Liberty County. Eventually, this is going to track towards Batson, off to the east in Hardin County. And so that's what we're watching right now. This is the new update from the National Weather Service, and just kind of spotlighting the circulation. Again, we're seeing it actually get a little brighter. So we're seeing the circulation intensify a little bit here north of Liberty. It's about to cross 146. So again, get on the phone with your loved ones if they've been traveling around and they're not yet looped in. Hopefully they are by now, but just in case, I want to make sure that everyone between Liberty and Hardin is aware that this circulation is still ongoing and potentially producing a tornado. When you see the polygon, that's just the outline and it's not filled in, that means that it's radar indicated. That's kind of our visual indication that, okay, they were seeing the circulation on radar, but we haven't gotten confirmation that something is on the ground. But we want to treat all of these warnings as if there is something on the ground and get into that safe spot. It's been a while since we've reviewed our tornado safety, so real fast, I just want to kind of go over that again with you. So you want to get into the lowest level of the building that you're in, if you're in that warning there in Liberty County, and you want to stay away from the exterior walls. Don't try to see them out the window because it's raining so heavily, you won't see anything anyway, more than likely. You get in that lowest floor, you go to an interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, a bathroom, a pantry, a closet, and just hunker down there with the family and the pets until this thing passes on by. And so that's the place to go. And if you want to take it a step further, you can crouch down, cover your head with a pillow, or if you have a bicycle helmet, you can grab a motorcycle helmet. The head is what we want to protect in these situations. It's not actually the winds of a tornado that can harm you. It's all the stuff flying around at those high speeds in the wind. So no confirmed tornado at this time in Liberty County, but we continue to see that the warning has now been extended as we've gotten to the end of the current warning, which is set to expire at 5. So they've reissued a warning there. And again, we're still seeing signs that this storm is really intensifying here on the east side of Houston, or east side of Harris County, between Channelview, Mont Belvieu, Baytown, a very prolific lightning maker, as we typically see on the east side. And so that's the storm that we want to stay on top of because we think that may be the next one that gets one of those warnings. Meanwhile, you'll see this other green polygon between the Woodlands and New Caney. This is a flood advisory, good until 6:30. I'll go ahead and do a quick little rainfall analysis because these, again, have been heavy precipitation supercells, as we call them. And so when we look at the amount of rain that has come down here, radar estimates that we've had 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. And that's true across some of the other heavy storms that have tracked on through. So you see these streaks of heavy rain that have come on through. Those are where we've seen those circulations passing on through, those rotating storms. They send that air high into the sky, and what goes up must come down, and you get some heavy rain as a result. So also be aware of the street flooding threat. Of course, the greater concern right now is going to be the possibility of those tornadoes. And so, Elise, you're staying on top of that cell on the east side of Harris County, as we want you to. What's the latest that you were seeing with that one?
I mean, similar fashion, Travis. I was looking at that, and then I was looking at the flood threat. So we are thinking the exact same right now. This storm near Channelview, it's continuing to track to the east. It's clearing Channelview. It's just north of the San Jacinto Monument, just north of I-10 near Highlands. Again, the lightning with this is increasing very quickly this afternoon. Now has 137 lightning strikes. About 5-10 minutes ago, it had about 90. So this is a storm that we're keying in on. For potential intensification right now. That could potentially intensify and produce gusty winds, small hail, and a tornado if all those ingredients were to come together. One area we might start watching for that, just north of I-10. This is well north of Baytown as well. This area right here where you see that spinning arrow, it looks like the reds, the greens are trying to come together. It's just a small sign. It's not the best one we've seen today either, as this is one of the larger thunderstorms that could potentially produce a tornado. There's likely several different parts of this thunderstorm that have rising motion right now that might be trying to create an updraft and spin. But again, this one that is just passed through the Highlands near South Main Street, that's going to continue to move northeast, passing East Wallaceville Road. That is an area that likely has some pretty intense winds with it right now, and also maybe some small hail, some pea-sized hail. But the other concern, though, is going to be a lot of rain has just fallen within roads. This is going to greatly slow down your commute as well. But the analysis on that storm as of right now, that storm is definitely the one to watch in channel view of all the other storms that we have right now. A lot of lightning, very, very heavy torrential rainfall right now. This is also an area that Chief Forecaster David Tillman is working on getting some live pictures from as well. But for now, should I send it to you, Travis? Where do we want to go with this?
Back to me.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea, Elise, you were monitoring the lightning on that storm near Channelview, and it was just over 100 lightning strikes. It's now at 234 and climbing in this 10-minute window. So we've seen those lightning counts double. And anytime we see that, that's a sign that that storm is punching higher and higher into the atmosphere. And so as these storms begin to accelerate upward, that's what causes them to start spin. So we're really watching that carefully. At the very least, we're probably seeing some power outages just because of the sheer amount of lightning that is occurring there. So I don't know if we have our CenterPoint outage tracker available to give us an update on how many folks are without power on this day after Christmas. But that is the main game in town when it comes to anything in Harris County, moving into Chambers, moving into Liberty County. So those of you in Liberty County, you're really taking it right now with all these warnings that have been coming out one after another on the tornadoes, and we still got to get this storm out of the way before all is said and done. Okay, we did just get a new tornado warning. This one is south of the previous circulation. This one runs until 5:30. Daycetta and Devers are included in this warning. So if you're in Daycetta or Devers, go ahead and seek shelter. We go to the velocity mode, and I was actually noticing this, Elise. Yeah, there it is, that circulation that's popping up. Interestingly enough, the circulation that's now north of Liberty, between Liberty and Hardin, is showing signs momentarily at least of weakening, and we're seeing this new one that is spinning up here. So let me get down a little low here into street view mode. This is County Road 1180 at County Road, FM 160 and County Road 1180 at the County Road 118. So this is south of Highway 90. Off to the southwest of Devers. That is our new tornado warning. And I just noticed, at least the printer didn't go off. That's because we've run out of paper. But
I just filled it up with paper.
I know, we'll get it restocked. So as we go back and forth here, it's moving so fast. What do they have the speed on that one, Elise? Can you tell on that one?
I cannot.
Let me see. Okay, they've got it moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Yeah, so let me draw the track on that one. Okay, so Raywood, you're immediately in the path of this in less than 5 minutes, okay? So Raywood 508, Deseta at 516, potentially in the path of this circulation. So it's a radar indicated rotation. The Weather Service is on top of it. They pop out the warning. Doesn't mean it's producing a tornado, but we want to treat it as such because these rotations are the ones that will spin those down to the ground, like we saw earlier with the one confirmed tornado we have in El Campo. So that is the new tornado warning, again, that runs until 5:30. Both of these circulations have now cleared out of the city of Liberty. Kennefic, you're also in the clear right now, but we got to keep a watchful eye on what's happening down here between Channelview and Baytown, where you see that brighter red and green coming together there on the north side of the ship channel. That is where we think there may be another spinner trying to get going, and that could eventually impact Baytown, could eventually impact Mont Belvieu, so stay on high alert there. And when we go back to that traditional radar view, we'll throw on the lightning as well. You just notice how significant of a lightning maker this is. Look at, anytime you see the yellow flash, the yellow bolt, that's a recent lightning strike within the past minute. And then all those plus signs are those positive strikes. So when I do an analysis here to look at just how much lightning is coming down in this box I've drawn, the count is 249. The split on that is negative strikes 150, positive 99. Someone asked me earlier today, what are the plus signs? What does the positive mean? Those are those really powerful storms that, they're rather powerful lightning strikes that start near the top of the storm. So if you consider the charges of a battery, you know how there's a plus end and a negative end, a positive end and a negative? Well, the same thing happens in a thunderstorm. And on the top of the storm, usually you get a positive charge, and the bottom you get a negative charge. So normally you see most of your lightning strikes on the negative side of the spectrum, those ones that come down between the base of the storm and the ground. Those are the ones that we normally get. And then those positive ones, they have to travel such a far distance. They're extremely powerful. And those are the ones that make all the noise, and the rumbles seem to last forever and ever. That's what we're seeing in this highly electrified storm. And so that tells us, even though it may not look like it's spinning much right now, it is trying to spin up. And so that's why we're keeping such a watchful eye on that one. And then we've seen the rain clear out of much of the inner beltway of Houston and the inner loop. There's still some rain out there, but I'm not concerned about any of that rain near Hobby Airport or over towards the Addicks and Barker reservoirs of creating tornadoes. That's not going to happen there. And those of you south of Houston, you say, what about us? Okay, well, let's talk about you right now. We're not seeing any signs of rotation down here. We are seeing some heavy rain. We're getting some lightning, but when I turn on the wind mode to kind of peer inside that storm, I'm not seeing any signs of significant rotation. We are seeing that though from near Channelview to Baytown, and then we've got the two spin-ups going on right now in Liberty County. Both of those rightfully have the warnings on them, but both of those now have cleared from the community of Liberty. So if you're in the city of Liberty, you're in the clear from that one, but let's keep an eye on what's happening down here between Channelview and Baytown. Let me also show you again, we've had some counties get cleared out of the tornado watch. So we're going to pull up the tornado watch map to kind of get a feel for who's still potentially facing a tornado. If your county is in red, you are still under that watch, which is set to expire at 7 o'clock. So we expect the threat of tornadoes for everyone to be over by 7. Initially, this included almost all of our counties here in southeast Texas. And so we've seen a lot get dropped off once you get west of Katy. And so Brazoria County, Wharton County, Harris County, Galveston, Montgomery, San Jacinto, Polk, Liberty, Chambers, you are still included in this warning, and then eastward to the state line. Now, I think we're probably going to see, I may have said Wharton County, you're cleared, but Fort Bend County, you're still in the mix here, but I think we may get cleared out fairly soon. The main emphasis, I do believe, is more to the east side of Houston and Harris County. And when we look at our tower cams, just to kind of get a visual of what we're seeing here in the city of Houston, we're seeing the sun come back out, but we're seeing things calm down considerably. Note the winds have now turned more southwesterly instead of southeasterly. Once we see that wind switch more to the southwest, that tells us that the threat of tornadoes is now over. And we're seeing that at Hobby Airport as well. We're seeing that around ABC13. So we're no longer getting that easterly component to the wind that can feed into the storm and cause it to start spinning, at least not over the majority of Houston. Here's the view from Hobby Airport. We still see some dark storm clouds, but again, the wind has turned more southwesterly. When we go and look at what we're seeing with that line east of Houston now, I'm going to throw on the temperature map to show you where it's still warm enough to create that unstable air. Notice we still have those warm temperatures ahead of the line, and notice that you see the wind lines are kind of converging right there in the vicinity of eastern Harris County into Liberty County. Those are the storms that could still potentially spin up. So meteorologist Lee Smith is over at the weather wall, and she is keeping a watchful eye on things as well. And Elise, I see you're looking down south again. Has anything caught your eye?
I am.
Down there in your angled Hamilton and Lake Jackson?
Not yet, which I think is good news, Travis. And as you mentioned, a lot of the severe weather that we are seeing today, it's winding down, but that doesn't mean we couldn't see a few intense thunderstorms before all is said and done. That tornado watch is in effect until 7 p.m. for a reason. This line of intense storms still pushing farther east. At times, I have seen some little areas of potential rotation, but nothing that would signify a strengthening part of the storm or a potential tornado. But this line, I did put a track on it. It's moving at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So we are going to see some periods of some very heavy rainfall, torrential rains, thunder and lightning moving into Matagorda around 5:18, Brazoria around 5:28, Angleton 5:30, Sargent 5:39. This storm will continue to track into Lake Jackson around 5:47, Clute around 5:53, Freeport, Bryan Beach, the San Luis Pass. Past that, as we now head into Galveston County around 6:30 as of right now, if this thunderstorm holds together, could enter Jamaica Beach, and then around just after 6:30 for Galveston. Here is the velocity signature on it, so you can see along it we likely have some nice strong updrafts and downdrafts that could give us some pretty gusty winds, but these particular thunderstorms look a little more linear in fashion to me south of the city of Houston and portions of Brazoria and Matagorda counties. So this too for Galveston right now, I think the tornado threat closer to the coast southwest of the city and southwest of I-10 is lower than what we have north of I-10 in portions of Harris County, Liberty County, and far northern Chambers County as well. So let's get to some of that's going on right now. It looks like we just got a new flood advisory as well for that cell that's been over Channelview that's been dumping heavy rain, besides the fact that it's been strengthening with lots of lightning and thunder as well. Look at all the lightning right now. For Mont Bellevue, likely a big light show and very, very loud as well. I feel for all of the pets out there, all the puppers right now with these big thunderstorms rolling through the region. So that flood advisory in effect until 8:15. We'll get you more on that in just a moment. But looking at the velocity signatures here, the storm relative winds, where we're trying to find areas of rotation near Mont Bellevue now in portions of Chambers County, I'm not seeing that defined rotation. It doesn't mean that we couldn't potentially see that in the evolution of this thunderstorm over the next hour or so, but right now nothing catching my eye too much. It looks like we just got a strong thunderstorm alert for it. I do want to point out that it is likely producing pea-sized hail. That's what 13 alert radar is analyzing right now. And oh boy, this hail bullseye is right along I-10 right now. Commuters don't want to be on the road traveling east or westbound on I-10 in portions of far eastern Harris County and portions of Chambers County. So that's something too that's going to be an impact of pea-sized hail and the torrential heavy rain that's going to limit visibility. So I am going to go back to the radar real quick, and we can go back to the one warning we have right now that is in Liberty County. There's the area of rotation now just to the northeast of Devers, going to pass north of I-90, headed towards DayZeta. So anyone in DayZeta, I hope you are in your safe space right now listening to us here at ABC13. The area of rotation doesn't seem as prominent to me. It's still there. It still warrants that tornado warning, but it's not as prominent as what we have been seeing as this thunderstorm continues to track out of Liberty County. It'll likely be out of here probably by just after the bottom of the hour, around 5:30, 5:45. But I'll go to the next couple slides here, because I do want to get to Travis with the latest on potentially the flood advisory and also that strong thunderstorm alert we just got for that storm.
Yeah, and at least we did just get some information in that we have confirmed damage coming out of Liberty County. So these storms have been touching, these tornadoes have been touching down in some spots. We got information that the Preserve of Texas, the gated community there that's off to the east of Cleveland along 105, does have sustained damage. Power lines are down, damages to buildings and to homes. So we're now starting to, as the storms are clearing out, we're starting to get some reports of the damage coming in. I've also seen some video of the tornado that went across, the storm that went across Lake Houston, producing a tornado around Dayton as well. And so we're getting visual confirmation now that we did have these warnings that came out were warranted with tornadoes that touched down, and there has been some damage. What was that? Say that again, John? Okay, we have some Lake Houston waterspout video. So remember that circulation that tracked across Lake Houston? There it is right there. That you can see the funnel over the water. We like them when they're over the water, but eventually it's going to cross over land, and that's the one of the many ones that we've had cross through into Liberty County, so out of Harris and into Liberty County. It's now looking like that storm cell Now, we've been tracking your channel view is beginning to move out of Harris County. So it's still very noisy in Baytown, but Mont Belvieu, you're really hearing the noise right now. So let's spend a moment right there. Now has a strong thunderstorm alert, as we've been talking about. 40-mile-per-hour wind speeds on this one, and that pea-sized hail that Elise showed you. So this storm is still in an organizing phase. So this is the one that is really catching our eye for what's the next thing that may try to spin up a tornado. So it's starting to spin, and it's still showing a lot of signs of upward motion. The lightning count has been increasing on this, and so this is the storm that is one step below a severe thunderstorm warning. So we got to keep a really watchful eye on this as it crosses into Chambers County. And when we look at the spin in the storm, we're still not really seeing signs of a strong, well cohesive type rotation, but we're still seeing the possibility that that is going to occur. These again are the two active tornado warnings. The one that's up here in northern Liberty County is set to expire in just about a minute, 20 seconds actually. So that one is set to expire. And then we have the one here with that circulation between Liberty and Devers, crossing Highway 90. It just got a new frame that came through. It's now between Devers and Daysetta. Remember, these are moving quickly off to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So next stop is going to be between Batson and Sour Lake. This is going to cross over 105. And so this is going to move its way into Hardin County. And so those of you from Devers to Daysetta still need to be seeking shelter from this one. We just saw the tornado warning clear out that I mentioned was about to expire. And so this is our only active tornado warning. But again, we're keeping a watchful eye on this strong thunderstorm that has popped up over Mont Belvieu. When we go back to our regular traditional radar view, I want to show you again just how much lightning is coming down. Do another little lightning analysis on this one. So just a tremendous amount of lightning. Now close to 300 strikes in the last 10 minutes. So that's still going up. In the bottom right corner of your screen is our storm tracker, Jaime Garcia. He's there in the vicinity of Mont Belvieu, staying on top of this storm, knowing fully well that this is the one to watch. And you can see the kind of the flashes of lightning that keep coming down. And so this could be the next storm that potentially produces a tornado. So lightning count, again, continues to climb. So this is still on its way up. Let me clear out the lightning view. And we like to do an analysis that we call our 3D radar scan. And we're going to take a slice through the storm to see just how high this is punching up into the atmosphere. And it's getting about 35,000 feet up. And as I move this around, what we'll be able to do is kind of get a feel for where this is going on. You see the lightning coming down there. So we're seeing it pop up here and there. And there's a region I'm looking for. We called it a bounded weak echo region. And it looks like one is trying to develop. And that's where the air is going straight up and will potentially signify that this thing is going to spin up and try to pop off a tornado. So a very intense thunderstorm there with just, again, a lot of lightning is coming down. So we're going to keep a watchful eye on that storm as well, even though it doesn't have a warning. We do now have a strong thunderstorm alert here for this line of storms. So those of you in western Brazoria County, from West Columbia over towards Bay City and Sargent, all the way down to Matagorda, Palacios, you are now under this strong thunderstorm alert for the potential of 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Not seeing rotation at this time, but there could be some winds that kind of rattle the trees around, a few little twigs, maybe some weakened branches may come down in that. And then there's the line behind it. It's kind of a broken line. So one more wave of rain trying to come through Houston and Harris County. That one is not going to produce any tornadoes. So we're not concerned about that. Again, Elise mentioned also the flood advisories that we have in effect. This one runs until 8:15. So that really heavy storm that's been there, sitting over the east side of Houston into eastern Harris County, Channelview, just south of Crosby, you've really been taking in some heavy rainfall. And that's that storm that is now over Mont Belvieu and continuing to still see some signs that this thing is spinning up. Let me go. You see that spinning red arrow? I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what that's going to tell me is kind of what the main threat is with this one. It says it has a tornado threat of 7 on a scale of 10, where 10 is the worst. So this is definitely an organizing storm. Even though there's not a warning on it, don't be surprised if this becomes the one that does get the next warning potentially on it. And I know, Elise, you're taking a look at this storm as well. You're slicing through it. What are you seeing about this storm currently in Mont Belvieu that's caught your eye?
Well, the storm is so large, Travis, as we've been talking about, that I've been trying to find those areas where we might be able to pinpoint where a tornado could be possible if this thunderstorm were to continue to to intensify and grow. And that seems to be just north of I-10 near Mont Belvieu in Chambers County. Again, that strong thunderstorm alert in effect until 5:45. So here is that one area that I'm watching right now. It's right near Texas 146, just north of I-10. The greens and the yellows coming together where that arrow is. That was one area I was watching. Another one was actually, just north there where we have another spinning arrow there north, a little farther north along Texas 146 too. Both of those looks like it are catching my eye right now within that thunderstorm cloud. Thank you. And unfortunately, this is just south of Liberty. Once again, in Liberty County. So we are not done for you yet, Liberty County, even though some of the severe warned storms are going to start to move out of our region. So that was the main thing I was trying to keep an eye on, Travis, is analyze where that potential strongest updraft would be within this thunderstorm. And one key element, I think, is where some of that where the hail core could be. And that is near I-10, where we're finding that pea-sized hail near Mont Belvieu. So that's something I'm going to continue to analyze. I'll try to put a track on it as well. But besides that, these thunderstorms are going to be really heavy rainmakers. So trying to wait until all of this passes. We have flood advisories now starting to pop up. So I still would try to stay inside, stay cozy the day after Christmas instead of trying to go out even later tonight once the severe weather threat has passed.
Yeah, thanks for that analysis there, Elise. And that really is kind of what we're watching at this point. So things are beginning to quiet down pretty significantly in the city of Houston. It's that storm that's crossing through Mont Belvieu. So Chambers County, southern Liberty County, we're keeping a very watchful eye on that storm. And now we're starting to get more of those damage reports. All right, here's our storm tracker, Jaime Garcia, and look at that. You can see the cloud is very low to the ground. I don't believe we are looking at anything touching the ground, but that is the storm that we are really concerned about that may try to put down a tornado. And it's in these colder months. I know it doesn't feel cold outside, but let's say the winter months of December, January, February, where we have a history here east of Houston of getting these large tornadoes coming down. We call them wedges, and so these are very large circulations. And sometimes what we have is what we call the mesocyclone, which is the rotating part of the storm. Sometimes the entire thing comes down and touches the ground, so it makes for a tornado that's over a mile wide. We might be seeing something like that trying to occur right now there in Chambers County in the vicinity of Mont Belvieu. So this is a very serious storm. It has a strong thunderstorm alert, but it's the one we're watching for the possibility of getting that next upgrade. And there you go. The warning just came down for a severe thunderstorm, tornado possible. I don't know. Maybe they saw our picture from Jaime Garcia there at the Weather Service office, but this is what we are looking at. So let me pull out the view, and I'm just going to leave on the tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings. So let me kind of clean up the picture a little bit. And I do want to take the lightning off for a moment here. So this is the part of the storm that we're monitoring. This is a tornado possible tag. So it means that this storm, while it's currently not warned for tornadoes, this one could potentially produce that. So this is from the Weather Service. This warning goes until 5:45. The severe thunderstorm is located over Mont Belvieu or near Beach City, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So that's the motion there. So this is going to miss you in Anahuac. Those of you in Winnie, you're going to miss out on this storm as well over in Stowell, as this is eventually going to track its way probably into southern Liberty County. So let me do a little analysis on the storm view while we have that part up. So again, this is the part of the storm that's potentially producing, that could produce a tornado. This is going to be tracking northeastward, and it looks like Moss Bluff, you are in the path. Raywood at 558 potentially could see part of the circulation of this storm. Okay, so let me clean this up again. They say there could be winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. All of this is radar indicated at this time, and they say remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. If you spot a tornado, go at once into the basement. We don't really have basements around here. A small central room in a sturdy structure. So we've talked about repeatedly the tornado safety, what to do in this kind of a situation. So if I'm in Mont Belvieu right now, or if your smartphone has tripped and you're under this warning anywhere in Chambers, Liberty County, even extreme eastern Harris County, even though the circulating part of this looks like it is kind of moving out of Harris County, go ahead and treat this as if a tornado could potentially develop, and just get your family in that safe spot and hang out there until this thing passes us by. So that is the storm right now that just got the new warning. And let me clear off the actual we're starting to see these greens get a little brighter here right over Mont Belvieu. And so this is getting a bit stronger. So this is right at 146 Barbers Hills High School Stadium as where we're seeing those winds pick up on the radar. And I do want to slice through this from some of the different radars that we have because they all kind of give us a unique perspective. And that's the beauty of having a radar network like this. So this is the radar coming out of Bush Airport. It's also seeing that circulation there near the county line on the north side of Mont Belvieu. And as we go over to Hobby Airport, and I'll turn the warning off again, seeing a little bit of a stronger indication of the rotation and the measured wind speed. So when we look at how fast these winds are blowing, the radar out of Hobby Airport's detecting these 45, almost 50 mile per hour winds going away from the radar, and then it's detecting these winds coming towards the radar. See the negative sign? That means it's coming back towards the radar. So the circulation is right over Mont Belvieu at this time. And you can see the picture we have in the bottom right-hand corner from Storm Tracker Jaime Garcia on that storm. And it's producing a lot of heavy rain and a tremendous amount of lightning. So it's certainly got your attention. I know if you still have power and you're with us, that storm is going to keep you up right now. And again, we're seeing, let me go ahead and clear some things off. I want to kind of get a feel for the movement of this one. So there's the circulation, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to one other different view and again turn off some of these warnings here. So there's the circulation. We've been warning about this trying to spin up since it was over Channel View, and it looks like it's starting to tap into some of those ingredients where it is right now, that this is going to try to spin up maybe into a large tornado even near Mont Belvieu, and then probably going to cross into southern Liberty County. Let's see. So we just got tornado warning. Okay, let me turn that one on. I don't see it, Elise. Is it the one for Liberty County or the one? Okay, so this is probably an update to the Liberty County one. Let's see what's printed out here. Bear with me for one moment. Okay, this is good news for those of you in Liberty County. They say that the tornado warning that's currently in effect, so this one right here, Deseta Devers, you're in the clear. This warning will be allowed to expire, not necessarily because the storm's not producing a tornado, but it's moving out of your county. So it's between that stretch of that's the highway between 105 between Batson, Sour Lake. That's where we're seeing the potential for that circulation to cross through next. So if you've got loved ones over there in Hardin County, give them a heads up. That circulation is still active, but those of you in Liberty County in the clear for now, but we have this next storm spinning up as it crosses through Mont Belvieu. So this one is the one that has the severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This warning will go until 5:45. So we've got about 20 more minutes left on this one. And whenever you see that threat tornado possible, it fills in the polygon in kind of that magenta shade. That means that this is a severe thunderstorm that could potentially produce a tornado. Okay, we've got Jaime Garcia now on the phone. Jaime, can you hear me?
Hello, Travis. Yes, sir, I can.
All right, Jaime, we know you've been out all day tracking these storms along with our chief forecaster meteorologist, David Tillman. You're currently on that storm in the vicinity of Mont Belvieu. We've been watching your picture on the bottom right corner of our screen. Tell us what you are seeing right now with your ground truth perspective.
Absolutely, Travis. This has been incredible weather day event, and right now, literally just sheets of rain, prolific lightning continues to hit in this area, and we've been seeing major accidents here on 99.
Okay, have you seen with your own eyes any signs of a tornado at this point of the storm so far today?
I'll tell you what, earlier we were just out at Dayton, and we were seeing those rotating clouds just like something just going to spin up, and it's been northeast, and it is just unbelievable, the ominous clouds, but a lot of haze, so kind of hard to be able to see that all this is wrapped up in these severe thunderstorms.
Now, Jaime, it's a little difficult right now to hear your signals breaking up a little bit, understandably, with the magnitude of the storm that you are facing. But we want you to stay safe out there. Thanks for phoning in with us, and stay with us on the phone periodically so we can continue to get updates from you as this storm continues to track through Chambers and Liberty counties.
Thank you.
All right, that's Jaime Garcia, our storm tracker. He is always out and about, scanning the skies for us from the ground. This right now is